you're familiar with games like Ark or Atlas or 7 Days to Die, a lot of these games are survival games. Of course, that's their gimmick, but they have base building as one of the core components. And if you bother with these base building mechanics for more than 5 minutes, you will quickly come to understand that sometimes the things you build don't want to be built, okay? So you have to think of some workarounds. You have to structure things differently. You have to build different parts, okay? You have to just work around altogether. Now, this isn't always the case. Sometimes your perfect little build comes together perfectly, you know what I mean? But sometimes, and oftentimes, it doesn't work out, okay? Now, this game is a lot like those games in that if you build up high enough, you will indeed need support. It isn't just 4 walls. You will more than likely need pillars, especially if your house, your hut, whatever, is going to be wide. You know, it's going to need support in the middle. It's going to need supports, whether they be stone, wood, whatever the case may be. But let's take a step back. Actually, let's imagine you literally just started the game for the first time, because this is what we did, and you're like, hey, how do I do anything? The first thing you need to do is just leave town, go out into the woods, the forest, and start looking for sapwood. They look like giant logs. They're pretty easy to spot. And all you have to do is pick them up on the ground, and then you'll have those. After that, the next thing you need to do is find some stone, some rocks. They're loose on the ground as well. After that, you can make an axe. You can make a chopping block, which is what you need in order to actually craft more things, like the carpenter workbench. And then you just keep going after that. But for all of that, you in fact need to find a plot. And so the very first thing you really do need to craft is the building hammer, I do believe it is. The carpentry hammer, something like that. And you have to go around and try to find a plot that isn't taken, which is really fun, by the way. We spent like 30 minutes doing this before we realized that the entire region was actually full. So we had to go to a different region entirely. They suggested for us to go to use alts and check out other regions. Like, this is crazy, man. And that's what we ended up doing. We ended up going to a different region entirely, and it sorted itself out. After that, you could place down the chopping block, make some planks, and go from there. Start making a furnace, start making a campfire, everything your settlement is going to need, of course. So that's how you get started from zero, really. You start crafting those basic components, and that's all you need. But it might be hard to get a plot, so just take your time doing that, and once you have that, you'll be good for about 30 days. Now, because it says the token renews once every 30 days. So, in essence, you're good for the next month, right? It's like a Rust type beat. You'll be fine. Just, I don't know how the tokens work, okay? But you'll have to get another one, okay? Apparently people are able to stack these plots. You can have multiple plots. So, they're not having any issues with it at all. The most basic materials you're going to find are clay, reeds, stone, wood. You can find reeds and clay down by the riverbanks, so once you find those, you know what you're looking for. You kind of have an idea where to find it. That's the most important thing, and that way you can just make trips there and back from your settlement. If you don't have water near you, you're kind of fucked, okay? I'm not saying it can't appear out in the wilderness somewhere, but if you're near a waterbed, chances are it's a lot better, like a bigger likelihood, you know what I mean? So try to find a river, try to find some running water, and just go from there, okay? You know your area, you know what's happening, you'll be good, okay? Now, the reason I mentioned the carpentry workbench from before, every object is able to craft its own different things. So, for example, the carpentry workbench allows you to work with wood, if the name didn't tell you that, you know. The furnace allows you to do different things, okay? So it differs in that from other games, because you'd expect, it's not like Atlas or Ark, where the smithy allows you to craft literally fucking everything apart from the loom, or whatever else, I guess. But the starting axe and pickaxe are actually really easy to make. All you need is just a few pieces of wood and stone, and you're able to craft them. They last for a long time too. Now, if you run across someone's settlement and their guards chase you, or a boar or a wolf chase you, you're still in the starting area, you're like, damn, I just fucking died. It's fine, okay? You keep all your things. The only problem is, I've noticed, because I died like 4 times in a row, every time you die, your items will start losing durability, okay? So, if you look down on the bottom, you'll notice your tools, the green bar, every time you use them, it becomes a little bit red. Well, every time you die, I don't know how much it is, like 10, 15, 5% even, maybe. It trickles down every time you die, so it's a very unique way of doing it. Yeah, I'm not saying that there aren't some items you might lose, because there definitely are. But these starting items, like I'm in the starting area and shit, I'm just literally fucking beginning the game, right? I didn't lose anything, so I highly doubt you're going to either. Now, keep in mind, this was on the standard server, not the RP server, okay? We were like, no, man, we're not doing that gay shit, at least not right now. We went for the normal standard server, not the roleplay server, so things might be different on the roleplay server, keep that in mind. Now, you can't just craft chests, you have to go to, I do believe, one of the workbenches, probably the carpentry one, in order to make chests. Whenever you have the chest, it will be in your inventory. You cannot just place it down. You have to go back to the building hammer, and you have to select it from there, and that way you can place it from there. It's a little bit different. It's really still the same. The fundamentals are all still there. It's just a little bit different. Now, the space in the chests, there's not that much in there, but the chests aren't that much to make to begin with. They're only a few planks. They're what, like 6 or 7 planks, maybe 8. So they're really not that hard to make, especially considering the cost of said planks. Now, one thing that really surprised me, the lower level you are, or maybe just the less playtime you have, the less items you'll have, okay? So as my friend and I continued playing the game and doing things, we unlocked more things, even though it wasn't readily apparent. So let me explain what that means. I was building the first floor of our hut, and I only had like 4 things. I didn't even have a fucking door to put on. I still don't. And as I was putting the roof on, I noticed, I was like, damn, there's more stuff here. So I had to hurry up and take off the roof and add on a second floor so I could put the furnace in, and more chests, more storage, a few windows even, because we didn't have windows yet, man. We had nothing. So now there's fences. You can make a railing out of that. There's planters for flowers, for decorations. There's poles you can use to make it look all weathered and shit, like have supports and shit. Most of the houses we saw were like these motherfuckers actually put some effort into their shit, man. Like these motherfuckers are like master carpenters or some shit. Like they got their own business and shit. Like it's no joke, man. Some of these things, like they look like they actually went and studied, like to know how frame, like the framing and shit. Like, dude, you have no idea until you see these ginormous fucking things. Like, not quite a mansion, but basically a fucking mansion. Like, it is crazy out here, man. But yeah, just I mean, these are the fundamental basics right here, man. That's it. Those are all you're really gonna need. You might need a few odds and ends apart from that, but that's really all you're gonna need. Wood, clay, stone, and reeds. And that's it. That's basically it to get the majority of your stuff down. Actual furniture is a little bit of a different story, but this is for the very basics, getting 4 walls, a roof, etc., right? Now, one thing that was really kind of a pain in the ass, actually, if you hold, I do believe it's Shift or Alt allows you to adjust the position, the vertical position of whatever you're using, whatever you're trying to place, so you can anchor it off of something else. And a low wall, for example, if your stairs don't line up exactly like mine did, you can adjust the walls of the next floor to meet that top step, you know what I mean? So that way it works with you. However, the next time you're trying to bone up on that low wall, it might bite you in the ass. So you need to carefully think about what you're doing. I don't know, like have a floor plan or some shit. Like you gotta think about this shit, man. And so whenever I'm doing this for like my in shit 20-minute design, it's really easy to think how these guys can spend hours and hours, maybe even days, putting together their fucking magnificent like sculptures, man. Like it is fucking nuts. But yeah, Alt allows you to go up and down. Shift, I don't know about controller. I'm just saying there's other controls here, right? Shift allows you to disable snapping, so you can actually use both the Shift and Alt to have total control of where things are placed. However, this will probably lead to some gaps along the way, you know. You're not going to be totally perfect. That's what the snapping is for. Now, I do believe if you press F on the keyboard, that is for Frank, you will be able to adjust the snap point. So if you have 4 walls, you're currently on the upper left wall, you press F, it'll switch over to the next available thing. That might be lower left, that might be upper right. It is the next closest available thing that it can find that it will snap to. So it might be a little bit confusing now, but once you actually get to it and, you know, try it out, you'll understand. You know, it's like riding a bike. You might fall over and skin the fuck out of your knees a few times, but after a few times you're like, okay, I kind of get how like gravity works, and I like need to keep pedaling or I'll fall over. You know, you get the idea of how to ride a bike, you know? So yeah.